face front, true believers. Welcome to the Pitch Nerds. We are the weekly show where two nerds assemble to bring you the latest nerdy news, reviews, and occasionally pitch things. I'm Cap, and joining me today is always best friend, fellow nerd, and what is it today? Outlaw mercenary, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty, how are you doing today?
Uh, like Warren and whatnot, but I'm making it. I got here.
Oh, goody.
For those of you guys that don't follow us on Twitter, the drugs I take make me kind of dizzy. They're making me dizzy right now, but even worse,
Mine too.
get it on camera, but I had a fall, and yeah, it's been a challenging week. Everything that I deal with, plus the foot injury, it's like I activated hard mode on what I'm already dealing with, or ultra hard mode.
But I'm sure you will find a way to frost your way through it as you normally do.
Dude, it's nah. This is beating me. I'm not gonna lie. I am. It's too much. It's too much. I can't. I don't know what to do, man. Like I'm at my end here.
You can tune into the Pitch Nerds where we can discuss Secret Invasion and pit Eric Cartman against Iron Man, and we can discuss.
I hate the fact that Eric Cartman's on that list.
Dude, you put Squirrel Girl on the list. Piss off.
Squirrel Girl is at least a fighter. Eric Cartman is just a parody. Like, he's not even a parody character. He's like Chester Cheetah. I mean, it's a silly character to have. He's not that. Squirrel Girl, at least, like, she goes up against people.
So does Cartman. He took out Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, in like a Looney Tunes manner, like, and then
okay,
other
and
episodes.
Squirrel Girl defeats freaking Thanos off page.
Yeah, but he doesn't. But like, you smack him, and then he goes, and then he cries. So it's inconsistent. There's no way to measure him. That's why I don't like it. You can't quantify Cartman, whereas you can quantify Squirrel Girl.
No, I don't think you can quantify Squirrel Girl.
Yes, you can. She's got X amount of powers, and then her additional power is she's unbeatable. That's it.
Right, but see, she's unbeatable right there.
Saitama's on the list. He's exactly the same, and he got defeated. Cartman's lame. I don't think he's lame, actually. Let me correct that. Cartman is an awesome character in his universe. He does not belong on a Battle Nerds list. Neither did Hannah Montana, for that matter, as I'm ranting.
Well, that was good. Well,
I know, like it's silly. Like it undermines our already silly list.
I'm still waiting for Lassie to come up, but anyways.
Yeah. But that's funny because we've always, ever since we started, we always joked about Godzilla versus Lassie. Neither of them have fought.
I like Godzilla. No, I'm thinking King Kong. Never mind. King Kong fought.
Yeah, King Kong took on Peter Pan. I think King Kong won.
Yeah, King Kong won that one. Even though I found the evil version of.
You found a good competitor. Yeah, right. I will admit. But I think that's what always happens when you get whoever gets the more powerful character. You kind of skate by the list, and you're just like that week, and you're just like, yeah, whatever. I got the more powerful one, and then you basically put the ball in the court of your opponent because they're the ones that have to think it through.
Right.
And I mean, despite how people vote, I always think that person usually actually wins the debate because the other person just wasn't prepared for that. You know, it's like when we had Naruto versus Robin Hood, and I came up with this crazy way for Robin Hood to win. Or Terminator versus Darkseid. You know, I thought that was a really good argument, though, using the bullet that killed him. I thought that was a good idea. Anywho, welcome to Pitch Nerds. We got a pretty fun show today. We got some.
Oh, it's already
news.
So much fun.
Not a lot in the news, but we'll talk about what we got. And then I got some rants in case we run short on time, as well as we were just talking about Cartman versus Iron Man.
I've been writing a lot.
That's cool.
I would love to talk some quantum shit.
Okay.
If that's possible.
I don't care. I put rants so that we have them in case we run short.
All right.
I thought you liked the rants.
I did. It's fine. What else?
I mean, of the rant, I'll read them out. What I got? I've got what superhero pantheon? If a film-based superhero pantheon was created rather than one in the comic books, what would you like to see? Would you rather have the powers of all X-Men combined or all Justice Leaguers combined?
Ooh.
Why didn't Strange just cut off Thanos' hand in a portal? Um, what movies would you like to see or have you seen that are led by actual villains, not anti-heroes, but
Like
actual villains?
That's a
And
cool one.
then, do you think Snyder was treated poorly out of ego, or was it purely monetary decisions by the studio? Additionally, we missed both Cap and I missed Unicorn Warriors Eternal this week, but we did. You saw the Craven trailer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Saw the Craven trailer.
Yeah,
That
so
was
we
cool.
will talk Craven trailer briefly, and then obviously Secret Invasion. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. And then Cap wants to talk some of his project, so that sounds like a lot of fun too. Always love checking in on where he's at with Drift, Quantum Drift. Sorry.
Clearly. Yes.
I
Anyways.
created a magazine back in college
Mm,
when I was doing graphic design like classes and stuff,
mm.
and it was named Drift. So anytime you say Quantum Drift, I always think Drift, like because that was my magazine.
That's cool.
Anywho, do you want to jump into nerdy news?
Yeah, I've got a couple things, but if you want to spearhead.
All right. So nerdy news. Harrison Ford. I thought I'd include this because we like to talk about him a lot on the show. And this is something me and you have discussed as well. You're like, leave that man alone. I'm like, but does he want to be left alone? Like, apparently he's answered that question. Direct quote: I don't do well when I don't have work. I just love to work. I feel useful. So he doesn't plan on retiring.
Oh, just keep squeezing that old cow. Just
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if the old cow's like, no, like,
good for him. I mean,
yeah.
I like Harrison Ford. I think he has a very. If you see him on Conan, it's the funniest thing because I can't tell if that's actually Harrison Ford or Harrison Ford playing a character of himself as how people perceive him as this grumpy
I
old
think
man.
what it is like Harrison Ford comes off as someone where you're like, leave that old man alone, like because he's just like, oh, I don't shit about everything. But then like when he actually talks, he's like, yeah, no, I want to do more acting. You know,
Right.
You're like, really?
It makes no sense. Yeah. So good for him. Good for him. If I'd like to see him more like serious roles. Throw him in Yellowstone. He'd be perfect. Throw him in Yellowstone, or throw him in a retirement home. Whichever.
Also, I think we've talked about it briefly. I can't remember where you land on it. I didn't like it, but what are your thoughts on One Piece?
Stop. Okay. Internet, if you can hear me, if you tune in, if you've seen One Piece, stop telling me to watch One Piece. Thank you.
Well, okay, so I know it's well loved, and so I decided to sit down and watch it. I watched like I really gave it a shot. I gave it like 10 episodes or something.
10 out of
to me
1,100 episodes, Frosty.
I know, but I think giving a show 10 episodes is fair.
In an anime, yes. 10 is that's fair.
Even in a TV show, I know some shows are like, oh, it doesn't get good until season 2 and all this, but like whatever. If you can't at least get me to watch your show after 10 episodes, I'm done.
Right.
So I gave it about that. I can't remember the exact number, but I watched it. I didn't like it, and I just moved on. No offense. Like if you like it, that's awesome. I'm glad you have a show. And I'm glad you have like 1,000 episode show. I like some of these really long running shows.
Yeah. So I have so many people who tell me to watch One Piece, and it was funny. We went to dinner last night across the street.
I don't think you'll like it. I mean,
I just don't have the time to invest.
It's not the time factor because I mean you could watch an episode a week and you just have a show for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah,
I don't think that's the issue. The reason I don't think you'll like it is you don't like goofy anime stuff. It's got a lot of goofy anime stuff, and that's I mean that's what I know of you. That's boop, you're done.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't think like, but like I said, it's well loved and a lot, and I've seen stuff taken out of context, so I'm not, but people have shown me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that is legit cool. Like there is cool stuff in it, so I understand why people like it.
I would say most anime has some cool element to it. You just have to put up with everything else. So front load with that. But so many people tell me to watch One Piece, and I had no idea it was that popular because it's been out for a while. And I remember watching a couple episodes, God, maybe 15 years ago, and I couldn't tell you anything about it. It was on at the same time. The Flapjack on Cartoon Network. I enjoyed the shenanigans of Flapjack trying to find Candy Island. That was more entertaining to me.
Well, I think that's because you're more into Western humor than Eastern humor.
Right.
And
Even last night at dinner, there's a dudes next to us who were talking about One Piece, and they were like broing out over it. And I have no qualm with that. I had no problem. It's just funny how so many people are into One Piece. So many people.
It's very beloved.
Now, I work at a bar, and I make conversation with people, and at least more times, actually maybe like once or twice a week, I'll overhear somebody talk about One Piece, or somebody will directly ask me, hey, do you like One Piece? Or have you heard of this thing called One Piece? It's... Regardless of how I feel about the anime trope, if it's captivated that many people, cool, good. It's nice to see people that, from the outward appearance, who don't look like people who would normally like nerd out about anime shit. Because the dudes next to us did not look like anime people, but they were nerding out over anime things, and I can sort of appreciate it for that. Because rewind back in our time as kids back in the '90s, if you like something like that, like people like that didn't like shows like that. You get made fun of for liking crap like that. So
yeah, I think a lot of that's gone away. Although you still see it.
So you do see it. You know what broke that mold was Pokemon, because everybody loved Pokemon.
You know what I see a lot, and I don't want to call out I think there's two kinds of Snyder fans. There's like people like Rob that are like, yeah, I like Snyder, but he likes other stuff too.
Right.
And he doesn't like trash people who do like other stuff. But I see it a lot on Twitter with the Snyder fans. Like, they call like people nerds for liking like all the stuff, and they're like, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you like, like the blah blah Superman. Nerds, Henry Cavill's the only one, and they only like that version of Superman, and they're trying. And I'm like, why are you trashing nerds? You're acting like Cavill's not one of us.
Right.
Cavill's a huge nerd. I mean, all you have to say is Warhammer 40K. And he's like, whoa. I mean, he almost didn't play Superman because he was busy playing World of Warcraft. Awesome. Cavill's, he may be built like a jock and all that, and he may look like an Adonis.
Right.
But that man is a nerd through and through. Like he's one of us.
Right. One of us.
But anyway, the reason I brought up One Piece is we are getting a Netflix adaptation. It's going to be out pretty soon. I can't remember when. And they are putting money behind this, man. 18 million per episode.
Oof.
It would make it one of Netflix's most expensive shows ever. It's live action.
So didn't they make an Attack on Titan live action?
I think so.
Movie. I never saw it.
There was a movie. If people didn't like it, they have a few anime things. They had Death Note.
Death Note was alright.
Live action. I like the anime. I never saw the live action.
The live action Death Note was okay. I enjoyed it for what it was.
They've had a few, and they're varying quality. But 18 million behind this one, so they are. I mean, it's got a huge following. If they nailed the show. Nerds online are like, oh, look, this is more than they spent on Game of Thrones episodes. But, I mean, I don't think that necessarily means it's going to be good. I mean, because you're throwing, like...
exuberant amounts of money
at something. Yeah, if throwing money at something made it good, then, like, there would be a lot better movies out there,
Right.
But anyway, it sounds like Captain, are you going to give it a shot, or are you going to give it a pass?
I might watch the first episode, but
see if you like it.
I don't.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you what. If one of you guys wants us to review it, I will watch it.
Yeah, that's fair. We can do that.
At least the first episode. And so just message us if you want us to take a look at it. I'll put up a thing on Twitter asking guys if you want us to review One Piece when it comes out. And we'll give you our opinion. I mean, otherwise, I don't see myself watching it just because there's other stuff I want to watch.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, I will say this: if you're a huge One Piece fan and you wanted a One Piece live action, having Netflix throw 18 million per episode, I mean, you're probably dancing, and I think that's awesome.
Right.
I mean, it may not be the part of nerd culture I'm into, but it's anytime that happens, I'm like, hell yeah,
Right.
like I'm glad you got what you got.
It means we've won. We've won the long game, Frosty.
I don't like this. I don't like this nerd on nerd thing though, where it's like anime nerds versus other nerds. Like it's like we're all nerds.
They
Anyway,
can intersect. Both can inhabit the same body.
So they can intersect too. Yes. I mean, there's some animes I absolutely love. Claymore, I thought was amazing. I just wish it followed the manga a little bit more.
So the one anime that I really got into, and even though it does have anime tropes, I just loved it, was even though it has a lull, Trigun was my favorite. Watched this is like my early days of anime, so it was.
But you're like you have a thing for the gunslinger archetype.
I kind of like that.
I know you do.
Evangelion was awesome. I liked Evangelion. That one. If I were to pick an anime to just represent all anime, it would be Evangelion. Gorgeously drawn, great story, great characters. It has its depths. Andy got me into that. Noble.
Yeah, he made me watch that first movie, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a weird, interesting concept, and that's what I like about anime is that it's so weird with their stories, but they're in depth. Yeah. Like they're so just entrenched with lore, and like each anime is its own like universe. It's not like a superficial thing. Like there's a lot of depth in a lot of these animes that are coming out. And I can admire them for that. I just don't like the tropes. The anime noises. Let's just call it.
Well, I just think it's a different culture.
You're right. I get that. It's just that's not for me.
No, I understand.
Not in large doses, but
anyway. I also don't like it. There's got to be that middle ground, and some of it I do find legit funny. There are some. I recently watched one because, like, I don't know if you. I think we talked about it, or I told you about it. All anime is now so and so in another world with a specific quirk. That's like all anime now.
Yeah.
And like one of them was handyman in another world, and he was just a handyman in our world. But he joins up with an adventuring party, and like. Because he's a handyman, it's like I can pick locks and stuff like that. And like this is insanely useful, but he feels like he's not used,ful because he's not like their warrior,
super powered. But
yeah, but and I don't know. It was a good anime. I laughed. I enjoyed it. So I do think there are some that I find funny, but hey, I know I closed the closet door. That's messy in there. Chill out. It doesn't need to be open.
But he's saying, Frosty, that last week when I made the same noise in the same exact spot at the same exact time, you eventually acquiesced to my kitty whip.
No, don't let him know that I'm going to give up.
And you opened the thing, to which he just walked away. Now,
I know.
The same thing's going to happen, but only this time, Evil Kitty's aware that you are suffering from a foot issue. So you're going to get up, hobble over there, and complain every step of the way. Just open the thing, and the cat's going to say, "Oh, that was, yep." And then walk away.
I have to use the chair to get over there.
Just scoot yourself.
That's how I get around, dude.
Dude, anyway. You should be like MODOK, dude. Just put you in a floaty chair.
I wish I had a floaty chair. That would be awesome. So we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Transformers 1, the new animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett Johansson is
RC. Is she RC?
I don't know, actually. I don't know what her character, but she's in it, and she's talking about it. Direct quote in regards to the animation. Doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before. It looks so cool. The texture of it is so awesome.
Nice.
It's got a very dramatic feeling about it.
Oh, she's going to
that sounds cool. I don't know how much she knows about animation, but I mean like
if she looks at something and thinks it's pretty, I mean, that's sort of a subjective thing, but
it is, but I mean, there's also objective aspects to animation that you can look into. But I mean, that does sound promising. I mean, I would love if the movie's good.
Is this the
is
this the origin of Optimus Prime movie?
Yeah, Transformers 1. We talked
Okay,
about it.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
animated.
yeah, yeah. Where it's Orion Pax, cool. No, so she won't be RC then. No, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
sounds good. And like I said, if the movie's good and the animation's good, then I mean, I'm all on board. I almost think the Transformers work better animated than they do in these live action films.
yeah,
Bumblebee being the exception, but generally it's because like you want the animated characters more than you want the human characters,
right.
and they don't really work. Like you know what I mean? Like it's hard to pull off a CGI movie where humans, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
because there's like a disconnect.
right,
Whereas I don't know, for some reason our brains are more forgiving in cartoon.
right.
Ah, you're right. Fuck it. I'm gonna open this thing. Don't make me get angry, dude, please.
Yes.
Oh god.
It's one step closer to
I don't.
conquest.
He may want me to. I only open it partially. He may still be like, "That's not open all the way."
Oh, I see some movement underneath your arm there. He's just kind of staring. Yeah.
Yeah, he went in there.
Good.
He doesn't. There's nothing in there. Like he's been in the closet 1,000 times.
But he wants it in
It's
now.
usually open. Oh, I wish I didn't do that. That made me super dizzy.
The cat
Anyway.
is well aware.
Okay. So returning in 1 month. And I've heard mixed reviews about this. I agree with the point people are making, but at the same time, I'm on board because I want more. Futurama is coming back to Hulu. So what are your thoughts? Because it kind of had the perfect ending.
It had the perfect ending. It had several perfect endings.
Well, I feel like the final ending with them on the date and then it
Yeah.
like restarts the time and everything. I think that's
perfect.
that was great.
Right.
Yeah. Because it would also finally got Fry and Leela together, and I love the like want to go around one more time and the
Right.
old hands.
They kill Hitler out the window.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I mean. It was kind of perfect, but
it was perfect in a Futurama way. It was perfect.
yeah, but I mean, at the same time, if I'm sat down on a whatever day it comes out and a new episode of Futurama, you know what I mean? Like that sounds awesome.
Right.
So I'm on board. As much as I agree with everybody, it was perfect. Leave it alone. I agree with all of those things. At the same time, it's like, hey, would you like another slice of cake? I would like another slice of cake. Thank you.
But I'm full. Like I'm happy with the cake I had. Like I don't want to be a
Okay.
glutton. I mean, but if it's good,
I mean, it's been long enough that like I could eat more.
Okay. I mean, am I going to watch it? Absolutely, because it's fucking Futurama. Am I going to be with my radar tuned looking for anything to criticize it? Possibly. But am I going to try to enjoy it? Yes.
This is gonna be loud. Everybody apologize. I'm gonna take off my boot.
Sorry, that was a perfect fart joke moment. Yeah, is the cast coming back? Everybody?
What?
Is the whole
Yeah,
cast?
yeah,
coming
it's
back?
all the same stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
as far as I know,
It's
anyway.
just Bill West and
It's same people, same actors,
John
same
DiMaggio.
everything. It's just,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, let's do more. Everybody loved that shit, and it's like we did love that shit.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, and the ending. I mean, it served. I mean, you could just be like, hey, it's them, but they're going around again. You know.
Right. I mean,
Do you remember that show Mighty Max?
Oh, I love Mighty Max. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was another perfect ending where it reset everything.
Sort of. It ended with him being like, it restarted everything, and then he's like, well, this time I'm going to be a mighty one, and that was how it ended.
Right.
But they never actually beat the villain. They just restarted
time. But Virgil was aware of it because when Max cracked open the hat for the second time, it said, "Oh, don't be late this time." Like he had included a mention. So
my question is, would you be happy if Mighty Max came back?
Oh, I'd love if Mighty Max came back.
All right, so I mean, similar to Futurama, right?
Right,
I mean,
but
you feel like you had more of Futurama and not enough Mighty Max?
Yeah, like Mighty Max was. So the whole thing of Futurama is eventually leading up to Leela and Fry. And Leela, she was in that cave and she used her gun to do the water dripping down over millions of years. It's just it was perfect. Like it was a perfect ending for the two of them, which was what the whole show was about. Was about the two of them finally coming to embrace each other. Mighty Max is just a fun adventure romp. Like I'm okay with having more fun adventure romp.
Well, the show was about him becoming the Mighty One.
Yeah.
And he never really fulfilled that prophecy.
No, but now he gets a second chance, so we can.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Maybe this time around he could, be raised to the level of Mighty One and defeat, what was his name, Skullmaster?
I don't know. Like, so with Futurama, though, like, I agree with you that that was the thrust of the show, but there was also other elements, like, in how stuff paid off to stuff. If they could incorporate that again, stuff in the previous timeline,
Yeah.
and you know how they do that, like they have little things and then it becomes big later.
Right.
If they pulled that off,
so like when they came back and the time machine was like slightly higher than.
Yeah.
And they killed themselves in that timeline. They replaced themselves. Yeah, they could possibly call back on that, maybe.
I don't know. I'm gonna watch it. Like I said, I agree with you, and I agree with nerds that agree with you. But at the same time, I just love Futurama so much, I don't care. It's Futurama is bacon to me. Like give me more.
Bacon is delicious. I actually have a quick nerdy update. Dan Stevens, who was the live-action Beast in Beauty and the Beast, he has replaced Justin Roiland in Solar Opposites.
Okay.
I tried watching the show. There's things I liked about the show, but it just didn't grab me.
I like Solar Opposites. It hasn't grabbed me enough that I've watched more than a few episodes when I'm bored. A lot of adult animated, we seem to have a lot of them right now.
Yeah.
I just kind of got burned out on most of them. I watched like the ones I like, but and I don't dislike the others. It's just, I don't know. They're all there's that same sort of feel to them,
Yeah.
There's one on Netflix, I think, or maybe it was Hulu, where it was like scientists and stuff. I watched the whole thing, and then I saw season 2 came out, and I was like, I don't care enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think any of them are bad. It's not my, me. I'm a superhero guy, so
So I mean, the big one that just ended on net, or that just dropped that Mrs. Cap and I finished was Human Resources season 2. That's a great show. Very raunchy adult humor, but it's done in one of those very smart ways where it just the raunchiness sort of just buttresses the point they're trying to make. It's perfect show. Love it. If you are not easily offended, I absolutely suggest you shut up and take my money. But if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of them that pop up every once in a while that want me.
It just seems like every time I turn on Netflix or Hulu, there's a new one.
Right, like there's one like the F Word, I think is one, or
that one's been out for a while.
Yeah, that's one that it's like, hey, check this out.
That one. That's like a family-based thing based on Bill Burr's childhood. What was that? There was that one that was done by the Simpsons creator, but it was done in a fantasy.
Yeah, Disenchanted.
I watched it. I watched both seasons. It was okay.
I could not. I tried it. I liked the little demon guy. I liked him, but I feel like it was not quite the Simpsons, not quite Futurama. Like I felt like. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just I felt like Futurama is just superior, even though it's a completely different genre. Like it's just I tried to watch.
It had elements of Futurama though, where you had like small things, and then they became big things.
Yeah, so
then they tied into other things.
It did have the through line, yes.
And I think it's better than people give it a chance for. I just think it was one of those things. It reminded me of Family Guy. Not Family Guy, American Dad. Because like we had Family Guy, and then American Dad came out, and we sat down, and it just wasn't Family Guy,
right?
And so we were kind of like, but then it kind of gained its own identity as you watched more,
right?
And I think that show gained its own identity as you watched it, and yeah, I thought it was better than people gave it credit for, but I don't think it was amazing either.
You know, it's weird. I loved not Family Guy, American Dad. I used to watch that show religiously. Then something happened where just somebody inside my head just flipped a switch, and now I just can't stand that show. And I can't tell you like what caused it, because it just
It's sacrilegious to some, and I know that you'll not like this, but it sort of happened to me. And even though I still think the show's good, I just stopped watching it, and
right.
I don't enjoy watching it. Is
South Park.
the Beavis and Butthead one, but not Beavis and Butthead.
Oh,
Come on,
King of
the
the Hill.
same
King of
critter.
the Hill.
King of the Hill, yeah.
Yep. I
I think it was because it
love
was
King of the
always
Hill.
on,
Okay.
and I just got burned out of it.
King of the
It
Hill.
was like anytime I turned on TV, it was like King of the Hill, King of the Hill, King of the Hill.
I love. See, I'm the opposite of that one. I initially hated King of the Hill, but after you get past season 1, it just takes off. I fucking love that show. That's
I don't
probably
hate it, and I still think it's brilliant, and I think the comedy's brilliant.
it
I
is
admire everything about it.
right.
It's just okay. Like I'll compare it to this. When I was in college,
Mm,
my mom sent me off with a bunch of canned food,
mm,
and the thing I had the most of, I don't know why, was tomato soup, canned tomato soup, and I love canned tomato soup.
right.
That's one of my favorite things. But by the time I'd eaten like my 40th can of canned tomato soup,
You're over it.
and I was like, I'm not eating that anymore. Now, every once in a while, I'll have tomato soup nowadays, and I'm totally fine with it.
Right.
But it took a long time to get to that point, and I think that's what happened with King of the Hill.
So once I got into King of the Hill, it just grabbed me, and I freaking love it. I can put that on as ambiance and just be entertained by it. It's
I think my show for that is Community. I'll put it on in the background if I'm like working on something, but I want background
yeah.
something.
See, I would want to sit and watch Community.
I've seen it. I've watched every season several times through now, though.
Okay.
So it's like,
Yeah, that's how it is with me with King of the Hill. Where I've seen like every episode just all the way through. God, it's.
I always skipped a year of the gas leak, but you know.
I mean, I still like to watch it because it is canon, and there's a justification for why it happens. So it's just
yeah. If you, I mean, I've watched it, but if you watch that season, like sometime if you ever want, like, you're like, I'm just going to rewatch Community. Yeah, rewatch it all the way through, and then just. It's weird because we're talking about a show that jumps the shark hard,
right.
like after like at a certain point,
right.
and that's kind of the point of the show is like it just goes off.
Right.
But they went too far off in season 4.
Right.
You know, and it was because you didn't have Harmon there to like rein it in.
Mm-hmm.
He balances it somehow, whereas I don't think the other guy did. But anyway, Futurama though. So that's coming back. Are you guys gonna watch, or do you think it's? Are you over it, or do you think it ended perfectly and like that's the and you're like don't touch it? You know,
right?
I do think that's a good like if something ends and it ends well, like you know, leave it alone.
Star Wars.
Well, Star Wars, I think the Skywalker story ended, but I think the universe is more interesting, so you can continue with it.
Right. But Star Wars.
Well, that's what I do think there is a difference, though, like because you do have like Futurama wouldn't work without the crew.
Right.
Star Wars works without the Skywalkers.
Right. But that's sort of what I'm implying here.
Yeah,
Star Wars. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to watch it, and we can talk about it.
So something I know you are looking forward to is coming back real soon, July 27th.
Yes.
We are getting more Harley Quinn season 4.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, we were just talking adult animations that we like. This is one for me, but it's superheroes, so of course.
Right. Well, it's superhero satire, but respectfully done. Like,
well, it both celebrates and makes fun of it.
Right.
I always say it's like Metalocalypse.
Right.
That makes fun of metal, but it also celebrates metal.
Oh, there's a new Metalocalypse movie coming out soon too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because they never that's a story that never ended.
Yeah.
They finished one part of the story in their rock opera, but they never concluded like the whole apocalypse of metal upon the planet thing.
So that's the movie that's coming out. I saw the trailer for it.
That sounds dope.
Mm.
But so what are you hoping to see in the next season of Harley Quinn? Because I mean, obviously, season 3 was mostly about her and Ivy fighting their relationship.
Too political, but I hope they just poke fun at Bruce Wayne being in jail. You can draw some parallels to what's going on in the real world right now. I'm sure that sure they're going to handle it well.
Bruce Wayne isn't that. I mean,
Well, I know that, but I could see them. He's in a very fragile mental state right now, so I could see them. I mean, Batman was sort of the villain in season 2. I mean,
yeah, he was. He lost his way,
right? So it'd be fun to explore.
I do think it's going to be a passing. I think we'll probably see, because I think season 3 was Ivy and Harley Quinn's relationship, but I think now we're going to see more of Harley Quinn and Batgirl, because Batgirl obviously is coming to the front.
Right.
I mean, this is definitely a girl power show, but it's done in a way I don't care. Like,
Right.
And the guy characters, yeah, they make fun of the girl characters too. I mean, come on.
They make fun. It's fine.
But I mean, that parody of Nightwing was perfect. I loved it.
Right.
I
love the parody of Damien. Damien just flipping the bird from the
Damien was great.
Yeah. Playing on his phone, just flipping the bird. That's perfect.
I think we saw her. I mean, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. I think we saw her. It finished with her kind of becoming the new leader of the Bat family. So I think we'll see that, and I think we'll see how that ties in with Harley Quinn.
Right.
I'm definitely. It's a good show because it's super silly, and I mean, then they take entire breaks, and we have whole episodes about like the Joker.
The Joker running for governor. I love what's been done with the Joker. It's still. The Joker is about anarchy. Well, he's still being an anarchist. He's just doing it in a more politically savvy way, and he wins, and it's so good.
The Joker's one of my favorite parts of that show.
I love how he's just a family man, just a normal dude, and he's proven time after time again that he's like a reformed man. Like he's found a new like means on how to be the anarchist. It's hilarious at what they did with him. Bane is still my favorite.
Bane is. I have a lot of favorites. I don't know.
They're all great.
Even like Commissioner Gordon with his like,
just
he's at his like end. Just
at his lowest point. He just wants friends.
There's so much to like about that show. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching it. A lot of people get mad. I can't believe they're treating these characters this way, but it's like, come on, dude, it's hilarious.
Dude, it's they're celebrating every aspect of this character. Like every portrayal, it's like every character is an amalgam of their predecessors. Yeah, and it's great. And it's sometimes it can be tongue in cheek, but other times it's still Bane. It's still this person. They still have their powers and shit. It's just it's funny. And Clayface, I mean, he's just this thespian actor. It's wonderful.
I liked it when he started, like, when he was mind controlled and he turned into a giant thing with spikes. And like, you could do this the whole time. And he's been turning into like, college co-eds and stuff. Like,
hopefully we get to see that in the new Batman movie that's coming out, where I think Clayface is slated to be the villain. Like, it'd be cool for like that climactic battle for him to just go all fucking goopy, just spikes and shit.
I liked it when James Gunn was using his Clayface
image with the teeth
thing on Twitter. Yeah, he had that as his Twitter profile picture for a while. Anyway, James Mangold says he partially wished that Hugh Jackman Wolverine wasn't returning to Deadpool 3. He says, I don't measure my success on a movie like Logan with whether we ended the conversation. I ended my conversation. This kind of ties in what we've been talking about, actually. I agree that Logan ended like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I think that was the satisfying conclusion.
Right.
I guess the reason I don't have a problem in being in Deadpool is because Deadpool's like, hey, let's be in Deadpool. Right. You know what I mean? It's like silly Deadpool Hugh Jackman time. It's not really the same character. Right. This is more Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds than it is Wolverine and Deadpool. You know what I mean? Right. Like it's and that's why I'm kind of okay with it. And also I think Hugh Jackman would play a fun kind of straight man to like Ryan Reynolds silliness.
Right.
So I think it's a good combination. I agree with what he's saying. But at the same thing, I think you did end things. I think you ended things perfectly.
Right.
I don't think this is a reflection on what you did, though. I think
no. So there's never been like a consistent timeline with the Fox X-Men universe, anyways.
They've tried explaining it a few times, and like, this happens this time, this happens this.
So
Okay, I admire nerds that do shit. Like
right,
that.
I get it. I get it. It's just to the average human. It feels disjointed. It feels like let's just keep making movies. Let's make another Phoenix movie. Let's have Phoenix be the villain again. Let's just keep using Phoenix.
I think it's because Dark Phoenix is an amazing story. I just don't think it's ever been
it's never been executed.
Outside
other than
the
like
comic,
the animated.
The comic, I was going to say the '90s series, yeah.
Right. God,
which, by the way, when is X-Men '92 coming out? We've been talking about that forever.
So I think it's next year.
Okay.
I heard rumor that we might get a Hojo in Deadpool 3. As
Hojo?
Or what's his name? Mojo, the big
Mojo.
Yeah, Hojo. I like Hojo.
Mojo. M.
Yeah, Mojo. I like Mojo. There's rumor that we're going to be getting him, and he's sort of going to be the orchestrator of Deadpool 3 as everything is going down, and he's trying to be like the what he does. He's like a game show host. So
yeah, he has he's a network host.
Yeah,
he controls a TV network, and he tries to put shows on.
Right,
and then so it's kind of like a parody on like, hey, let's put Wolverine in this, and this is the premise of the show, and right. Then like, and then it gets broadcast across the universe,
like the multiverse and universe. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that'd be cool. I'd like to see that.
It's kind of like the premise of like you're stuck in in TV episodes,
right?
Which is a trope at this point. We've seen it a lot of times.
Well, we saw it in WandaVision. They pulled it off. It would just be that would Deadpool.
WandaVision did it differently, though, I think. But yeah, I see what you're saying. This Mojo is more like. Do you remember there was like a movie back in the, I want to say 80s. I wasn't allowed to see it because the devil was in it, and my parents were a little bit Christian back then. Yeah. But it was like these two parents get sucked into the TV, and it was like they were jumping through shows, and it was for the devil to watch, and like their kids were trying to save them.
Ooh, I don't remember that one at all.
Oh, really?
What was that called?
I have no idea. I just remember the premise. I eventually, as an adult, was like, I'm going to watch this. And I was like, that wasn't very good. But, as a kid, I really wanted to see it. And,
Yeah. I mean, you would have enjoyed it more as a kid.
I'm sure I would.
You know what? That'll be a behold, nerds.
If I can find it, we can do it today. I mean, anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I disagree. I mean, I agree with what he's saying, but I don't think he grasps the difference between Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't have an issue with Logan coming back.
Right. Yeah, especially when you're dealing with like multiverses and multiple timelines and all that crap. It just, I get it. That was the fitting end to that. This could be a different Wolverine. It's easily
really Wolverine is the X-Men for that whole run. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he was the main character. I know he wasn't necessarily much in the newer ones, but yeah, they kept trying to make Wolverine work, and that was the first time he did really work.
Right.
I mean, he was good, but like it was just the movies weren't good. The Wolverine and all that.
They were not.
Let's see. Skull Island. It's already out. I haven't seen
animated?
it yet. I was wondering if you saw it. Yeah, the animated Skull Island. It's the first series in the MonsterVerse. So they're intending to do more. It's on Netflix. Do you have any interest or not?
You know what? I think the Universal MonsterVerse that they've been trying to make would be better in like the animated form. I think.
You gonna watch it?
So this is probably going to be one of those things where Mrs. Cap and I will probably watch it. We saw it pop up the other day on Netflix. We're like, oh, that's out. Maybe we'll check that out. So if we have time to watch it, we'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm interested. Same thing. If I'm sitting at dialysis, I don't know. I spend most of my week asleep now. So, but if I have some consciousness, and I'm not playing Zelda, I'll give it a watch.
Oh, how is Zelda, by the
Um,
way?
yeah, it's good.
Good.
Tears of the Kingdom. Basically, if you played Breath of the Wild, it's the same thing, but they've added on some mechanics. A lot of puzzle solving. The combats, everything else is just the same.
Mm.
I do like building shit. They give you a lot of the stuff you need anyway. Like you can collect stuff to carry with you,
Mm.
but pretty much if it's like okay, you come across like a little guy,
Mm.
and he's got this massive backpack and he can't move because his backpack's too huge.
Mm.
And he's like, I fell behind my buddy. Look, he set up a smoke signal. And you see these guys throughout. They're like little bug guys
Yeah.
and like relief people. And you got to like take that guy and get him to where he's being, and you can do it however you want.
Mm.
But generally, right next to wherever those guys are is the answer.
Right.
Like I'm next to a lake, and he points out his buddies on the other side of the lake.
Right.
And I'm looking, and I'm like, well, I could go around, I could do this, and then right next to this
It's
dude
like a
is
big
like,
fan.
well, no, it's like a few boards,
Mm-hmm.
and then they call them zoonite creations or whatever.
Mm.
One of them's a fan,
Right.
one of them's a control stick, and then there's boards. So I'm like, slap the boards together, stick the fan on, stick the control stick, put the guy on my thing. Now I've got a boat and I'm cruising along the lake.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And it's like that's the obvious answer that you were supposed to go with.
Right.
Yes, I could do something creative and like build my own Harrier jet or something and fly over there. But it's gonna explode after a minute anyway. So I might as well just take the boat, like
Right. Also, there's like durability, time issues with your
with a
creation.
lot of stuff. Yeah, not everything. And then there's also your battery pack. You have a built-in battery pack,
Oh.
and that's how it powers the machines. And so when that runs out, they stop working. You got to wait for it to recharge,
Oh.
and then you can build that up like a stamina thing almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also stick in other batteries. But like you go to one, and a lot of times they give you the stuff to build your own, but like there's one already built for you.
Right.
Like I go to the top of this mountain and I got to fight this like dragon. It's like it comes out, all Zelda style,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm like, how do I fight this guy? Because I try and shoot my bow at him, doesn't do anything.
Right.
And then like, oh, I can shoot. I have this guy with me. He turns into a spinning rock, and you fire him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but he's way up in the sky. How do I do that? And they're like, here's a jet. And I'm like, oh. Hop on the jet, and the guy hops on the front, starts spinning, and then you fly along and fire him. But next to the jet is all the individual pieces to make your own jet.
Oh.
So like you could just build your own if you wanted. It's however you want. I don't know. I was talking to a fellow nerd Joe about this, and he doesn't like games like survival games. Like he does, but he doesn't like the building aspect. He hates that.
Right.
And he was like, well, if I play that game, I'm never going to build. And I'm like, you don't understand. It's not Minecraft. You're not building a house.
Right.
You're building stuff to solve problems. It's puzzle solving,
Right.
How do I get from point A to point B? I'll build a bridge.
Right.
Or I'll build, and then there are things you can do. You can build a mech if you want. I built a drone and I turned it on and it flew off and then murdered everything in front of me.
Nice.
And then exploded, and I was like, that was awesome.
That's cool.
I do think it is funny though, because it is open. Like I said, I've looked up like there's shrines you go to, and you have to beat the shrine to get a light, and then once you get enough lights, you can get an extra heart container or stamina vessel.
Right.
And they're puzzles, but like I've looked them up afterwards. Like, how was I supposed to do that? Because the way I've solved it is oftentimes not what the game
intended. Right.
Yeah, I've done weird stuff that like, yeah, they were like, like you can reverse time, and I've played with that and stuff. But I kind of feel like, oh, it's cool. I found my own way,
Right. It's nice having more than one way to solve a problem.
Yeah, I enjoy. I think the best
allows
part
room
of
for creativity with that aspect. Like you want people to build.
The game is stupid huge, though.
Right.
Stupid huge. All I've been doing since I started this game is going, I'm gonna activate the little things to map the upper area. out there's an entire area below me. I've been playing for weeks. I've still got 3 more areas to activate to turn on the map.
Damn.
And I've hardly played any of the main quests or anything. I've just been like hitting these little temples trying to build up my hit points and stamina bar. So great game. Highly recommend. If the only complaint I have is also what's so cool about it is it's just so big. And like there's stuff everywhere. You can't walk 5 feet without being like, well, if I climb this tree and do this, then it opens a cave over here, and then lights appear, and then and then at the end I got a stick, do.
Right.
And you're like,
so I did like Breath of the Wild. It was cool standing on one mountain and looking in the distance and having those big ancient robots, knowing that you could walk to that. It was just the scope of it, just seeing how far you had to go. And to know that this game is even bigger. I haven't played it yet. I don't have a Switch.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth picking up. Anyway, so Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm excited about this. I love this character. He's bringing back Ali G for a new project.
Oh, good.
I love Ali G. The only problem is everybody knows him now. So I remember living in England at the time, and it was like midnight, and I was hanging out at my buddy's house. Like, dude, come down here. You got to see this shit. And that was like the first time I ever saw Ali G on TV.
Right.
And he cracked me up. And some of the stuff he's gotten to like people to say and admit to, like, he's great. I love Sacha Baron Cohen. Bring back Ali G. It's a great time. I'm all for this. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I wonder what kind of show he's going to do. I would hope he has it like a talk show and just.
No, well, he had a talk show.
Oh yeah, the Ali G show. So if he were to just keep that format and maybe go back to what the Daily Show used to be, which is just the mocking the lighter side of news, but have it be Ali G, that'd be perfect.
I do think it was funny because like Ali G is definitely like, he's what's the word I'm looking for? He fucks with people, right?
Yeah.
And like
he trolls people.
Yeah, he trolls people. But you can't troll a troll. And when he met Trump, like Trump immediately saw through that.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not singing Trump's praises. You can talk to me later if you want to know my opinion.
Right.
About Trump or Biden. I kind of think they both suck. But I have to admit, Trump saw right through him. You could see it. They had the interview. 3 seconds in, Trump was like, no, this is bullshit. I bullshit people. You can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Right.
And Trump just bounced out. And I was like, go watch it. Have you seen it?
I have not seen that. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, say what you want about the guy. He can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Yeah.
That's it. No,
but yeah, I would like to see more of it. I mean, like we just talked about, I don't think the bullshitting aspect's going to necessarily work this time around because everybody knows him.
Right.
He would have to do a new character because his other characters are so famous, like Borat and all that.
So your PDE video ZZZ says Booyakasha.
Booyakasha. I do, yeah. Everybody, I remember that living in the UK afterwards. Everyone's a Booyakasha.
Anyways, yeah. Is there a?
There's no time.
Do you know a platform or anything
coming back? It's a new project. Yeah, that's all we know.
Maybe on HBO.
I don't know. All I know is he's coming back. Samuel L. Jackson. Apparently he's talking. So we're going to be talking about this a little bit later, but this is more the news side of things. He says Marvel has shot down. Oh, this is kind of funny. He's talking about during the making of Avengers and stuff like this. Is Marvel apparently shoots drones down that people fly over them filming to get like what's going on.
Oh, no way.
And so Marvel has a policy where they're taking out drones now.
I wonder what they're using.
He says they followed one back to where the dude was. They found him, and yeah, they got him.
Just
I like to in my head imagine it's like the scene from Pulp Fiction,
right?
Where like Samuel L. Jackson's actually there, and then he's like, that's a good fucking burger, like taking the guy's burger away and stuff,
right?
And almost along exactly the same lines. Apparently, the Avengers, the script for it was stolen and then put online for sale. Marvel arranged a fake buy to find the thief, and direct quote, they found out who it was. Dude quit, left the country. Again, in my head, this is where Sam Jackson's there. Like, good, big Kahuna burger. I haven't had one of those. They just send him out with his like freaking arrow on.
He's got that crazy eye. Dude
what was
fled
the
country.
Bible quote? Like it says that he's got the gun pointed at him.
Like, dude fled the country. Wow. Yeah. Just.
But did he? Did he? Or did he take him down with the Bible quote thing? Like,
oh man. Yeah. Okay. Don't fuck.
Him and Kevin Feige are at a restaurant later, and like some dude tries to rob it. That's my bad motherfucker. I don't know why. That in my brain, that's how this all happens. That's why it goes down.
That's awesome. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
What?
No, none. Moving on.
Push that thought away.
Can I say that on air? No, I don't want to risk it. I'm good. Anyways, what else we got?
So Kevin Feige, speaking of him and Samuel L. Jackson for that matter, we'll be talking about it a little bit later, but this is a quote about Secret Invasion. He says, "We love to do different genres for everything," something we've talked about.
Right.
And this was an attempt to really dive back into things we touched upon in The Winter Soldier, says Kevin Feige. Which makes sense. Winter Soldier is one of the most highly regarded MCU films, and coincidentally, it also features Nick Fury in a large capacity, giving audiences the glimpse into the past.
Right.
So that's my favorite MCU movie outside of like the big adventure ones,
right?
And possibly Ragnarok. I just think Civil War had the best plot, story, and I don't know why. I guess even though it's not a genre I really watch a lot, I always enjoy it. Spy thrillers,
right?
And I can definitely feel Secret Invasion kind of picking up on what happened in the other one. The only thing I will say is Winter Soldier. We still had superhumans. I guess we do because we have aliens, but it's Captain America. It was cool seeing Captain America. You know, like watching him take out that fucking the plane and stuff. Yeah. And fighting
the whole opening to that
elevator.
Movie. You're right.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff in that.
Right. Oh, that elevator.
I'm trying to think of that parody I recently saw of the elevator. I don't remember it now. Whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I agree with the sentiment. I think Kevin Feige's got a good point, and also I like the return to. They've been doing a lot of comedies lately, so let's lean more.
Dial it down and be more the spy thriller. Just so what was great about Winter Soldier? It did have its like little humor moments, but it wasn't like the whole thrust of the movie. It was still a spy thriller. So we had a little bit of that in Secret Invasion. We'll talk about it. Where
people are saying it's humorless, but I disagree with that. I do think there is some.
Right.
All right. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else for nerdy news?
Apparently Logitech stocks dropped on account of what happened with
on that controller. Yes, because that was the controller's fault.
Because the guy got mad and threw it. Gosh, that's what led to the structural integrity of the sub to collapse.
I did see I mean, I don't want to talk about the sub because it's been talked about to no end.
The memes have been.
See, I'm done with it. Like, there's been memes about people like, "Oh, rest here, weary traveler." You know,
right.
I've seen enough of them. and I'm that. In fact, let's just ditch it. I don't want to even think about it anymore.
Right.
I feel bad for the people involved. That's a horrible tragedy. But I'm done with the comedy side of it.
Right.
Moving
on.
What do you want to jump into?
We can
trailer.
Oh, I was going to say while we're talking about the spy thriller,
Secret Invasion.
Okay. Secret Invasion, just sort of segue into that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
So Secret Invasion episode 1 dropped. I mean, nothing else to say. What are your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Did you dislike it?
I enjoyed it. I felt it was a little hammy on the dialogue a little bit. Like that was my one critique about the episode, was just the dialogue just felt unnatural. I did like with Nick Fury, when he's talking to that lady, like he goes out and he wants to be captured, and I'm watching this knowing that he wants to be captured, and it's like, oh, Nick Fury, you're out of your game, and blah blah blah. It's like, no, he's Nick Fury, he's in control. He knew exactly what he was doing. I love that scene. It was between him, this lady Skrull. I love that we get to see Sam Jackson. I was worried that we weren't going to see a lot of Sam Jackson, but we see Sam Jackson. Obviously, my
He's the main character,
right. The big thing that got me was I wasn't expecting the ending to happen the way it did. Not sure how deep into spoilers.
Oh yeah. Well, spoiler. Yeah. So the big spoiler is obviously, if you guys don't want to know this, it's a big one. Come back in like 15 minutes.
Right.
Maria
Hill
bought the farm. I was surprised because she talked about how this show develops her character, and so what's the character development here? Now, obviously, it is Maria Hill. If you read the comics, there's so many things, life model decoys, all sorts of stuff.
Right.
You know, it wasn't Scrolls, we saw the blood and all that.
Right.
But I don't necessarily buy that she's dead. That's my point.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't. I saw someone on Twitter saying, oh, fuck you, Kevin Feige, I can't believe you killed her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, if you care that much, then he kind of did their job.
Right, they did their job. Right. It's the same thing, good or bad. It's the kid who played Joffrey. He got you to feel something. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
So do I believe that it's official, permanent? No.
Well, they could also do like the flashback thing, like her character gets developed in flashbacks or something.
I don't think I'd want to see that though. I mean, maybe it's
possible. It's done well. I mean, I don't know. But
I would like to think that I would like to think that Maria Hill, who is aware of what's going on, is acting through a life model decoy or something, and that wasn't really her. They could pull it off.
There's a lot of things you could do. I mean, that was just one solution. But yeah, I okay. Here's my thoughts. I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite live action shows of theirs. People are saying it's devoid of humor. I don't think that's true. I just don't think it has overt humor. But it has like little bits, like when he's munching on popcorn, and he offers her some. Right. Well, and she's like, yeah, okay, you know, and like there's like little bits. And then like he's like, I've seen attractive scrolls and you ain't one, you know,
right?
Stuff like that.
Right.
I love the fact that we're getting more of the world explored. I kind of wish they didn't spoil Saber in Ms. Marvel trailer, because I think it was cool. Like, but we obviously know now what's going on there. Saber, not sword. I don't really know why it's called Saber, but those are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But I liked it, like, because everybody's like, "Oh, you're old, you're not here," and then when we see him teleport down into Earth, he's and like so that like was a metaphor for the fact that he's like out of step with everything.
Right.
And yeah, everybody's like calling him old and stuff like that, and it is kind of very same. You know, like, fuck you, I'm not old. You know, like,
it's like,
and
bitch, I want to be captured. And he did, because he put the little thing on the thing. He's able to see the thing. So,
and then what I really, 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 really enjoy is they are getting it right. Look, okay, this is a very different story than Secret Invasion, but what Secret Invasion did well is, holy shit, that guy's been a Skrull for this whole time, and is pulling that off. Like, we now know that one guy, I forget his name, the one that got pulled out by the Wakandan people, he was a Skrull. How long has he been a Skrull for?
Right.
You know, and like, and that's crazy. And like, so if they do it, and they're doing that, like, who's been a Skrull? How long have they been a Skrull? How does this affect things that we've seen? Have we watched entire movies? What if it turns out Captain America was a Skrull through the entire final time we saw Captain America? Stuff like that.
Right.
And that's what
made Secret Invasion good in the comics.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're doing, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it. On top of that, solid spy thriller.
Right.
I was
It is
captivated
a
all the way.
perfect spy thriller. So, though it is a departure from the comics, it's taking that concept of, wait a minute, you've been a Skrull this whole time and applying that into a spy thriller? Fucking shut up and take all my money. All the
Yeah,
money.
no, I really enjoyed it. This is a shut up and take my money from me too. I'm really looking forward to episode 2. I don't really have much more to say beyond like because it's set everything up. So the question is what's going to happen next.
I love the opening.
And
The whole opening of the show is perfect.
it was good because it kind of played with those aspects of who was in the scroll and who was in and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. A lot of people were talking about that. I thought that everything leading up to the opening, that I guess you call that the hook, it worked. I was immediately into it. I
Right.
was like, hell yeah! Like, what's happening next?
Right. Any thoughts on the AI generated opening? Apparently that
I
was
mean, I
just...
don't agree with the use of AI, but sure, it looked beautiful. I mean, I can't fault it. It was gorgeous.
Did you feel like it went on
And
too long? I felt like it was a really
nah,
long opening credit scene.
no. Because A, you can skip it if you want,
Yeah.
and B, it was. I mean, yeah, they used AI, but there's still a lot of artists involved, and they were like, hey, "Let's make this gorgeous thing for people to look at." And if you thought it was gorgeous, I know a lot of people were like, "They're oh, this is my favorite opening cinematic or whatever." They in any of the Marvel shows, and it's been a lot of people are like, "Wow, this blows my mind."
I like the
So,
opening of Daredevil, I think is the best.
really,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
Daredevil
know.
was good.
But anyways, shut up and take my money. Take our money.
Yeah, also let us know what you guys thought. Did you enjoy it? Or was it mediocre? I mean, well, yeah, on our scale, where do you put it? Death by Snoo. You got to do what you got to do, or shut up and take my money.
Oh, shut up and take all my money.
Shut up, take more money from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Kraven?
So Craven trailer.
Kraven.
So we had the trailer drop for Craven. I saw a still shot of Craven. I was like, that doesn't look good.
Right.
Then I saw the trailer and I was like, shut my dirty whore mouth. This looks awesome.
So I didn't know that this dropped, and I didn't know that there was a Red Band trailer. So I turned on the Red Band trailer, not a Red Band trailer, but like an uncensored trailer. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. Not from a PG-13. I guess it's going to be rated R, but I wasn't expecting that. It looks cool as shit.
No, it looks awesome. Yeah.
What's the name?
He's got the right amount of like. He feels like Craven.
So I don't know enough about the character because Mrs. Cap was asking me 1,000 questions after we watched it. I had no answers. Craven the Hunter, Spider-Man villain. He wears a big furry lion pelt on him. Like what's his deal? What's his superpower? What was the trailer?
It's basically what you saw. He's got like heightened anything, but to the point where he's a predator's predator. So he's like the ultimate hunter, and he doesn't need to hunt with like weapons and stuff like that. Like guns, he does use guns as well. But yeah, he's. I mean, if we're talking pure powers, enhanced strength, enhanced speed, enhanced reflexes, enhanced senses, like he can smell and hunt and stalk and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, and yeah, like it's not exactly clear what happened, but like, yeah, it's usually something like a lion attacks him, and then like, but the blood of the lion mixes with his or some shit, and
I have questions about that.
Yeah, but I mean, think like Batman the second one, Batman Returns.
Yeah.
We see her get pushed out the window, cats lick her clean, she comes back, she's like a cat chick,
Right.
Same basic shit.
Same thing.
Yeah, the predators of Africa bring him back, and now he's one of them.
Right.
And yeah, so the plot, it looks like his dad thinks of him as weak, and his dad's this evil guy, and then he decides to hunt his dad. So they have turned him less. I mean, he's been an anti-hero at times, but he's definitely not so much a true villain as an anti-hero. And yeah, he's like, I will hunt, but I will hunt my dad. Like, yeah, so it's that. But it looks cool as shit. It looks like a blast. I can't wait for more. I'm gonna totally check this movie out when it comes out. I hope it's got good reviews.
Hopefully.
But I was excited for Morbius, and obviously that one didn't do so good.
It's Morbin time. I don't know. It's.
Have you actually seen Morbius?
I haven't seen Morbius yet. I just don't care. I don't care.
I like Morbius as a character, though. I used to read him back in the day, and he was a fun character.
Yeah, it's
And I
just
like the fact that he was a vampire, but he was a living vampire,
right,
and so that was so he was different to other vampire characters like Dracula,
right.
because they were these undead things, but he got their same powers, but through vampire bats and stuff
Right.
like that. So yeah. I remember the '90s cartoon though, because he wasn't allowed to bite people, so they just gave him suckers.
The weird, yeah. Oh.
And then he wasn't allowed blood, so they just called it plasma. And I mean, obviously there is plasma and blood, but yeah.
Oh, the '90s. Oh, he's trying to just like Spider-Man couldn't punch people or something, or the
yeah. So it was always grapples.
Right.
I never really noticed it at the time, but I've gone back and watched it. The one thing I did notice at the time, and it's still one of my favorite things, was when he had the black suit and he was fighting Shocker. Do you remember that?
Don't remember that one. No.
Oh God, it is. Just look it up on YouTube after this.
Okay.
The voice acting is the greatest voice acting you'll ever hear, because it's so over the top. It's like Shocker's fighting him, and he's like, "Shocker, I will chase you to the ends of the earth." It's so good.
Oh, the cheese. Yeah, it's. Shut up and take my money. It looked cool.
I mean, can you imagine being that guy in that
in that sound booth, just
yelling that shit? That would be so much fun.
I mean, it's like the guy who passed out from doing the Goku scream.
Yeah.
Just commit to it. You commit to it.
Anyway, but yeah, Craven. So we saw Craven on that show a lot too. He was in the '90s Spider-Man show. And yeah, I think they did a good job of bringing his character to the big screen. I'm excited.
It. Right.
And we do see him sitting there in his little chair with the fucking fur thing.
With the fur, yeah.
Point.
That was a cool shot.
Yeah, that's mandatory. I'm sorry.
He needs to have the fur. Yeah, shut up and take my money. Look cool.
Yeah, look cool to me too. So as we said, we both, just because of life, missed Unicorn Warriors Eternal. I tried to watch it before this, but my cat was being a pain in the ass, and I was like, I give up. Cause if I can't watch it, I'm not gonna try. I want to enjoy it.
Right.
So do you want to jump into Battle Nerds?
Yes, where we will be pitting Eric Cartman against the legendary Iron Man in a battle to death.
Well, not necessarily to death. Sometimes we allow BFRs.
Oh my goodness gracious, yes.
Well, I'm just explaining it to people that don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, so
you want to skip, dude? I'm happy to
it's
skip.
Fine. So we random roll out of a list of 100 iconic characters. We put them against each other in Mortal Kombat. We rolled for this week. I will be representing Eric Cartman, and Mr. Frosty will be representing Iron Man. The battle that everybody's been asking for.
Last week, we had He-Man, and you like to go with Dolph Lundgren's version of He-Man.
Yep.
And he went up against the Mandalorian. It was a pretty good battle. I think we both agreed that up close, He-Man takes it. Mando might be able to pull it off if he kept his distance.
Right.
But yeah, I always I can't get over when I'm watching the Mandalorian. People are punching him in the head. And I'm like, he's got a fucking helmet on.
Right.
How much?
Well, it's like when Iron Man gets punched.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting punched by Steve Rogers, though, it's a bit different. But especially that one who can throw trucks and shit.
Right.
But anyway, so this was really, really tight. Every time I saw a vote going towards Mando, I'd see a vote going towards the other one. I actually retweeted the list because I didn't want both characters to go out, but that's what happened. We had a double KO. So bummer. We lose both He-Man, who had won one battle. This is the first time Mandalorian fought, and we lost Mando. So double KO. So they are no longer on the list. Rest in peace. And we are one step closer to getting our Pitch Nerds champion. So Iron Man versus Eric Cartman. Here's why I think Iron Man will win. I'm just going to throw this out there. He so Cartman's there, and he's like, I don't know, maybe dressed as the Coon or whatever.
The Coon.
And and Iron Man, and maybe he shows up and he's like, yeah, I want to be an Avenger, and Iron Man's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, yeah, and then finally Iron Man just kind of like puts out his fist and he's very lightly, pew! And then he just poof, and then like the coon's laying there, and then he's just like, and then he like runs off, and then the fight's over, and then Iron Man wins. And maybe like a theme music kicks in. I am Iron Man. That was just like a fun crossover before the Iron Man episode.
Right.
All right. So what do you think Cartman wins?
Oh my goodness. So I actually think quite the opposite, because Cartman, you just have to look at his feats. I think what Cartman would do, like, let's say Avengers Campus is having like a school tour come in, and the kids from South Park are there, and you can come dressed as your own superhero, and Cartman's going to be Cartman. You guys are a bunch of pussies. I'm going to go and become a real Avenger because I'm the coon or whatever. Makes his way, probably tries to do something to get somebody's attention, get scolded, fight. I can almost see Cartman doing just like a Tower of Babel. Like, Tony Stark would probably refuse Eric Cartman's request to become an Avenger, so that pisses off Cartman. Cartman's like Batman. If he has time to prep, then Cartman wins, because he will do a Scott Tenorman and probably find a way to get Tony Stark to eat his own family. We've seen Tony Stark is a volatile human, demon in the bottle. Cartman can probably see right through that and extrapolate that and just weaponize that against him to put Tony in a relatively just grumpy state. But most importantly, he's friends with Cthulhu. So, as the coon, he gets denied membership to being an Avenger. It's like, fine, I'll go and do my own thing. We'll call ourselves the Revengers. And he'll go and summon his friends in Cthulhu and just storm Avengers Campus and just murder the fuck out of Tony Stark with Cthulhu. And then he can do that cute cat thing on Cthulhu's head, which really gets him to obey the Cartman.
Yeah, okay. I'll let me throw out my rebuttals.
Okay.
I'm actually having more fun with this than I thought I would.
Right? It's fun.
I rescind Cartman is not belonging on the list. Okay. 2 problems with what you've just described. Okay, let's start with Cthulhu. So Cartman falls back on his god friend. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, hello, Thor. Yeah. So if we're pulling in outside help, I've got bigger guns, buddy.
Right. So Thor can be dealing with Cthulhu. That could be part of the Tower of Babel, like overall, like distraction. So Cartman can go.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting to it. Okay, so you said Tower of Babel, and I knew you were going to go this route, and that was immediately I was like, the problem with Cartman is you're going to go with Scott Tenorman. He's going to outsmart him.
Right.
Oh. Then I realized, wait, I've got Tony fucking Stark. Yeah. When we just said it, you can't troll a troll. I got the biggest troll. Cartman's things, we made you eat your parents, no big deal. Tony Stark is smarter than Cartman by a lot.
Right.
And so he would like, I made you eat your parents. But no, it turns out he's like, I'm eating your mom or something. Right. And then and I mean, think about it and then Cartman, I imagine he would get Cartman hooked on that drug. And so Cartman looks all ripped and he's happy and he's got girls and everything like that. And then it's no longer free. And so now Cartman's like begging him for money because he now needs to pay to get the drug to be looking. Tony Stark is, you said prep time. Tony Stark is the ultimate in prep time.
Right.
Nothing that Cartman can come up with, think of, do is going to outsmart him. He is the smartest person other than maybe Richards and do.
Right.
And and he's just, but whereas Reed Richards is the smartest because he's like, science.
Right.
Stark's got that too.
The charisma savvy.
He's also the ultimate troll. Like I said, that whole final storyline with him and his symbiote suit and stuff like that.
Right.
Where he gets you hooked on that drug, and then everybody's beautiful, and then he turns it off, and now everybody's like, it's like trying to fight Apple, it's not gonna happen. So yeah, I think that Eric Cartman is a worthy opponent against almost anyone with his whole I'm just gonna kind of like Scott Tenorman, basically that
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
And we've seen him do stuff like that. Like he called his psychiatrist that one, like and got his like wife to commit suicide or something
Right.
like horrible shit like that. It's not gonna work against Stark because he's gonna be like 10 steps ahead of him. And then in terms of actual combat, Stark's obviously the winner.
Of course.
And then if you want to pull in their pals, like I said, Stark has bigger pals. I give Thor against Cthulhu. I give it to Thor any day, especially with current comic book Thor, who's just they've like, hey, let's give him the power cosmic. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Right.
And he's got the Thor first, plus he's like stronger than Galactus now or something. Unless that's changed. Feel free to correct me.
You know what would be funny is if when Cartman's down, here comes Jesus with the AK-47s and freaking Santa Claus. Like, that'd be funny. I can just see, but see, that's the South Park way of it going down, is that shit would escalate. And
yeah,
that's sort of the fun of it, because yes, Tony Stark has his friends, and so does Cartman. It's just, I can see that all
does
being.
he?
I mean, he has people who'd come for him. I think poetically it would be funny to just have it end, and then he just cries and sniffles and goes back to like his friends, and they're just like, yeah, fuck off, dude, and they just leave him to just be a crying baby. That'd be funny. But anyways, it is not up to. I think we sort of ran this course here. This is. I knew this was going to be a fun one. This is a fun battle.
Well, okay, let's just sum it up. So you think why?
So I think because Tony might be a troll, but he's also fragile depending on what state he's in.
You're saying he's going to exploit his outfit.
So I think he would, and that's exactly what Cartman does. That's exactly what Cartman does. He exploits that. And regardless of not if you're a troll, if you have some deep-seated issue that can be exploited, which it has, that surpasses any amount of trolling you can do.
I mean, I would argue that Iron Man would. I mean, Cartman's got his own issues, obviously.
Right. But
they can do it to each other.
They can do it to each other. But I mean, and of course, your argument is the obvious.
Well, so my argument is that he wins obviously in combat, and that's over. But the other one is also that I think that normally Cartman could win on those grounds that you just brought up. I just think that he's going up against Stark, who is Stark and just has a big history of doing that himself. But anyway, we'll put up a poll on Twitter, you guys, and Facebook, and you guys can vote as to who you thought won the debate, and let us know. Winner, assuming there is a winner this time, goes on. Let's roll for our next matchup.
I rolled a 9.
All right. Okay, you got you got in her 3 times in a row. Like, not in a row, but 3 times now. You get Power Girl again.
Again? Can I re-roll? I want to re-roll.
All right.
I get a re-roll. 33.
Okay. You got to re-roll because that's Cartman again.
Too high. Yes, we've done Power Girl so much.
That's fine. I mean, she'll just either keep going or fall out. But they're going to get more repetitive.
I know. Is 48 too high?
Yeah, you got to go under a 36 or under.
All right. God damn it.
And 33 and 19 are out.
All right. Jesus, dude, come on. Dice gods.
Well, once we get under 20, we can just roll a d20.
Right. God damn. You know what? Fuck it. I'm doing Power Girl.
Just roll it until you hit it.
Dude, I've been rolling. I've been rolling.
It doesn't matter. It's been seconds. Just do it.
All right.
I don't want to go against Power Girl again.
Got a 12.
All right. Okay. So, hey, we were just talking about her. This is an interesting one. There's an obvious thought process here as what's going to happen.
Okay.
But we got Captain America versus Lassie. But all I can think is, whoosh, and then she runs, and then brings back the
seal. Who's got who?
You got Lassie, I got Cap.
Yes! I finally got Lassie! Yes!
Question is would I throw the shield and then she goes, and then she goes to grab. Anyway.
Okay.
So vote on Twitter as to who you thought won Iron Man or Captain America. Then tune in next week for Lassie.
Iron Man or Cartman. Iron Man or Cartman.
Cartman, sorry. Iron Man or Cartman. And then tune in next week for Lassie versus Captain America.
Yes.
Any idea on which Lassie you're bringing to the game?
I think there's an animated one, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right. I might
fair enough.
I might just go classic Lassie. Throws the shield. Bert! I was kind of hoping Lassie would go up against somebody like stupid like Godzilla or like, I don't know, King Kong. I think that'd be funny. But
yeah, but I mean, Captain America is still good because
yeah.
I as soon as I got Captain America and then you originally had Power Girl, I was like, oh, I got to go with like some crazy version of Captain America. And I'm sure there would
exist,
be.
Yeah. Didn't he have the Infinity Gauntlet at one point? Like,
probably, yeah. I mean, there's probably like Phoenix Cap and all sorts
Let's
of.
Let's do Endgame version where he's got Mjolnir. That.
Well, yeah, but then it's live action. Like, I don't know, but live action typically, and I always point this out, and other than the Super Soldier program in the MCU, they tend to be weaker. But I think that's interesting that they made them superhuman. So like, right. And I immediately I was like, God damn, Super Soldier is so much different in this. Like when during that scene in Black Widow, where the red whatever his name is grabs the truck, and you're just like, oh, they're that strong, like.
Yeah. So, anyways, moving on. Should we dive into?
Yeah, we got Black Hole Sun.
Beholders.
Won't you come?
So, what is it? Behold Nerds. So this is the weekly segment where we take turns suggesting things for us to watch and talk about. It was my choice. I chose a movie that I hadn't seen since I was a wee lad. Didn't remember much of it. Disney's The Black Hole. Fun little sci-fi romp. I don't think you've seen this movie, so...
I had never seen this movie. I didn't even know this movie existed.
So... your first time viewing, what did you think of Disney's The Black Hole? Now, oh yeah.
I just wanted to throw this out there as we go to discuss. Just a reminder, you guys can always suggest movies for us to discuss as well.
Yes,
we really like it because then it kind of comes out of the far side for us to talk about.
So Enemy last week was a good one with Jake Gyllenhaal. That was
exactly. Yeah, so let us know if you have any suggestions. We would love to hear them. But anyway, so Black Hole. So okay, so I turned it on. My very first like, what the fuck
was the black screen?
A black screen.
Yes, with
music.
Yes,
and it goes on for so long that I was like, something's wrong.
Something's wrong, right?
Well, I fast forward and I'm like, oh, so there's actually stuff. So I backtrack because, in my opinion, we're supposed to see everything.
Right.
And so I sit through the black screen, and I'm like, what was that? And then it gets to the little words, and then we still got credits with the grid pattern moving around and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was like, I guess Black Hole, and that's what they were going for.
I think that's what they were going for. But
so that sort of makes me think of sum this movie up. This movie sums up. It makes me feel like it was influenced by Star Wars heavily,
a little bit,
and then but then they were trying to do their own 2001: Space Odyssey and make it deep.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the story is paper thin.
Yeah.
But did I have a good time watching it? Yeah.
I like Vincent. Vincent was my favorite.
I enjoyed it. It was dated. The characters were paper thin. The plot was paper thin.
Yeah.
The villain was this very mustache twirling guy.
Oscar Isaac. That was Oscar Isaac, damn it. Looked just like Oscar Isaac.
So the robot, he was clearly a combination of C-3PO and R2-D2.
A little bit.
He was obviously the fun character. And
Vincent, I like Vincent. I had a little
Yeah.
figure of him when I was younger.
So yeah, I had a good time. I don't know if I think it was a great movie. I think as a kid, because of like the limited sci-fi
Mm,
environment out there, I would have absolutely enjoyed it.
mm-hmm.
As an adult coming into it for the first time, I was kind of like, eh.
It's
I will
dated.
say this though. It's a trope, but it's a trope I would love to one day be able to do myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be captain of a vessel of
Mm-hmm.
some kind,
Mm-hmm.
whether space or sea bearing, and then I want like to find a group of protagonists, and I want to invite them in and have like a fine dinner and be like, and be like, yes, with the luxuries of my ship,
Right.
and be like this sinister guy, like with all this really good food everywhere
Right.
and
Their own
wine.
like hydroponic garden and like fresh
Yeah,
mushroom
yeah, yeah,
soup.
yeah. I want that. I want to experience that. But anyway,
I will in quantum drift Frosty. I will make that happen for you. I will give you. I will hand it to you. Your own ship. You can furnish. You just tell me what it is you want to do. I'll park you somewhere and just wayward souls can just come
but,
floating up.
but I want the protagonist to show. That's the aspect. I
Right.
want to be the twirling mustache guy with the big banquet, aboard my
Right.
ship.
Um.
Anyway, but I enjoyed it. I like the fact that we finally got to see the showdown between Vincent. The other part of this movie though that made me kind of go like, what,
mm,
was like when they actually, so they go through the black hole at the end,
right.
and it gets very like heaven and
2001.
hell
Yeah.
and merges with the robot, and it kind of, and it's like that also kind of came out of left field. It was like, because it was very by the numbers. Oh, this
Mm,
like, and then that part happens, and it's like it was trying to be deep. And that's what I mean. That's why I sort of feel like this is, let's make a sci-fi movie. Okay, what do we do? Well, let's do 2001 sort of, but let's also make it Star Wars. And then this was the what we got.
yeah. That sums it up. I had not seen this in so long.
Also with that sort of Disney flair.
Yeah,
'Cause
with
it's
a
got
little
the,
bit of flourish of Disney.
well, yeah, because it doesn't feel like Star Wars in the like the sort of Western
Sort of in the sort of in the robot design. So the one thing that
robot design and like the pew pew pews and
yeah,
stuff. But I mean, it doesn't have that Western samurai feel.
no,
This feels more like that other movie you made us watch, that Starfighter.
yeah,
It's got that sort of aesthetic to it. Like,
right. So the
like I
one
said, the character. Like, also, why does she have a
psychic link with a robot? Because
Yeah,
the biggest question I have. So one thing I didn't know this, or I don't remember this from watching it as a kid. They actually have like with their special effects utilize like the ropes and pulleys to simulate some type of zero G, like floating around in the spaceship in the beginning. But then they have the little rolly chairs.
They look like
the
they're on
floor.
roller skates or something.
Yeah,
like, that's
I mean,
what I thought. Like,
they I don't know, because they were floating around a little bit. They definitely had something
you couldn't see their
suspending them.
feet, and it looked like they were doing this, and so I just imagined them on roller skates or something underneath.
Maybe, but the chairs that were clearly rolly chairs were just sitting on the floor. That bugged me.
They're magnetically locked.
I accept that. I no longer have an issue. Anyways, it was a fun little movie. I like the random meteor shower at the end. It just out of nowhere. That was fun.
Well, it was because their gravity field wasn't working. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So, yes, Frosty, you want to be in your spaceship with the lights off, only for somebody to fly up, and then you turn the lights on.
Like I said, because I've seen that trope so many times in things, like
right.
Even in like Pirates, like when they got the what's her name, this character aboard, the female protagonist,
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yep.
When they get her aboard, and then like the captain dines with her, and there's like all that crate of apples and stuff like that, and then she's eating, and then like, why aren't you eating? And then it's good because he's undead and he can't taste the apples anymore.
Right.
But he's enjoying watching her eat. It's a trope we've seen in a lot of things. I could have a pirate ship into it. I don't care. But I want to be that evil villain with the banquet, serving the protagonist and inviting them to dinner to make them uncomfortable. I want that feel.
Okay. I will give that to you in quantum. We'll figure out
If
how to make
if
it
I
happen.
could ever be in a movie or something or a
Mm,
TV show, and like they're like, yeah, we need you to act, and like that would be my character. If I could choose any character to play,
hmm
that would be the one. I just want to do that so bad. But anyway, and so I really enjoyed that scene in this movie because it's one of my favorite tropes.
Right. It does
Um,
build up tension. The movie does do that pretty well. You get the bad robot. What's his name? Vincent.
well, Vincent was a good
No,
robot,
Vincent
and
was
then
a
he
good
had his
robot.
buddy Bob, and then yeah, I forget the other one's name,
The red one,
Maximus or something like
something
that.
like that.
His special move is just spinning his hands.
Spinny things. Yes.
Yeah,
Well, he took out that one dude. He
he
punched
did.
right through that binder full of papers, and just I don't know, did
And then
something.
cut camera because it's a Disney movie.
Right.
That's
Cut to her reaction. I do like the sets in this movie, though. I like the
a good
bridge.
effect or not, but I mean it's an old movie, so
Right,
whatever.
but I
But
liked.
the sets are really good. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
I do like.
And I think the undead robots,
Right.
they had a certain macabre feel to them. The
Yeah.
robes made it even better,
Right.
and yeah, I think they did a good job with that too.
Right.
It was creepy. Okay, so that's one thing I will say. This movie feels kind of like a sci-fi haunted house,
A little bit.
and it has more of that vibe to it, where everything's scary and the music's good because it
Mhm.
elevates all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So it's less of a like that's I guess where I think it draws in from inspiration from 2001: Space Odyssey and Star Wars, whereas that's like a sci-fi western. 2001 is like this kind of art thing.
Yeah.
This is a haunted house, but set in a sci-fi genre.
Right. Even in the beginning, it has a bit of like aliens vibes to it. Just when they're approaching the ship, and just because they don't use CGI, they use the models, so you can. It looked cool for its time, though it is dated. I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I agree.
So where does it land on our scale?
Oh God, I don't know where to put it. Because shut up and take my money implies I want more. I don't. I'm going to give it to you. Got to do what you got to do. But I'm going to say it. I don't mean that as a disrespect way to the film.
Mm,
I just think that it served its purpose. I would have enjoyed it more as a kid. It's not something that I watched it this morning. I enjoyed it, but I didn't like. I don't want more.
right.
I'm good.
So yeah, I would put it on the border, like the needle's right in the middle between gotta do what you gotta do and shut up and take my money. Do I want more? Not really. But
I mean, I guess if they did a remake, I would probably watch it now.
yeah, but it would be accused of being woke, and then we'd just have to deal with that.
Fuck all that. If they made a remake and they updated it, and like I think that you could accuse it of why are you remaking this? I think that's a legitimate thing to say.
It might just
but
end
I
up.
would still be interested to see it.
I think it'd probably end up like the '90s Lost in Space with Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, that immediately ran through my head.
Right.
I watched the first season, but the second season I stopped watching it.
Right.
Did you see the movie? Did you see either of those? The shows or the movie?
I used to watch the original shows. I love the original shows.
I
would watch that with.
Remember though, the original show only really had 3 characters. Like really.
Yeah,
because all the other characters secondary.
Dr.
You
Smith,
really had Will
Robinson, and the Robot. Yes.
Yeah, and that was it. And like, yeah.
So it was cool as my dad has. So that they had the pilot right for Lost in Space. Mm-hmm. He has the original pilot that doesn't have the robot, or like one of the characters is missing, and it just feels flat. Like you can definitely tell that component was missing, and by including, I think it was either Dr. Smith or the robot, just elevated the show that much more. But
I do think the new Dr. Smith in the TV show played a really good villain.
So she played it too well. Like it's one of those where she's making me feel, and I don't like how she's making me feel. So I'm not going to like roast her on Twitter. She did her job. It's just that type of.
You hated her too much.
There's a gender swap. So Dr. Smith is a female in this one, which it's woke. Whatever. Shut up. She did such a good job at doing the gaslighting's a term, at
Mhm.
and having several of those types of people in my life and just knowing how they behave, she sort of captured everything that these people are in real life.
Yeah, you hated her too
Right,
much. Yeah, I get
I
it.
hated her too much, and it sort of turned me off from the show because of how good of a job she did.
Yeah, no,
And,
I thought she played a really. I actually enjoyed that part of her character. I liked hating her, but
and so
uh,
it's the same
what it
thing.
reminded me of,
Mhm,
and I saw this the other day, and this pissed me off to no end.
mhm,
And there's this game show, and it's a British game show,
mhm,
and I'd never seen it before, and this is an out of context clip, so I kind of had to put together the pieces. But I think the way the game works is there's a huge sum of money, £100,000, which I don't know, should probably like $150,000 now.
mhm.
I could be wrong; it could be lower because pounds going down.
Right.
But anyway, so £100,000, a lot of money, right?
Mhm,
And there was this guy and this woman, and they're talking. And I think what it is you can vote share,
mhm,
where you share the money with the other person, and if you both vote share,
mhm.
then you split it. You can vote steal, where if the other person votes share and you vote steal, you get all of it.
Ooh.
And then, or if you both vote steal, you both lose everything,
Oh,
and you
okay.
don't know what the other person's going to say.
Okay.
But you can talk about it. Well, you do know what they're going to say, but you don't know. It's what are you going to reveal? So this guy's talking to this girl, and he's like, "Look, I could never steal this from you.
Right.
We'll each go home with £50,000. That's huge. That's life changing.
Mm,
If I stole this from you, I would be the worst human being ever. These people," he points to the audience,
mm,
"would kill me." And she's like, "But you promise you're going to do that. You're sincere." And he's like, "Yeah, I promise you. I promise you."
mm.
She's like, "You really, really mean that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I promise you. Me and you are leaving today with 50,000 each.
Mm,
How incredible is that?"
right.
And then she's like, "Okay, okay, I believe you." And then they go, "Okay, time to vote." And then he shows share, and she shows steal. And I wanted to murder her. And you
Wow.
just see the guy just crumble. She destroyed a human being. And the doctor reminds me of that woman. Like,
Oh, I felt that. Um, yeah.
right? Like, oh
I.
god,
So, oh my goodness, who played Anne
that
Hathaway?
is when that's when evil wins, man. Like,
So Anne Hathaway, her Catwoman sort of did it too. There's just that
Mhm.
gaslighting where there's that one scene where she was in the
She
restaurant.
betrays him. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's that. If you want to know what strikes my core as on a spiritual level, it is that form of gaslighting. I have developed
Did you ever play the Batman game where you get to play as Catwoman?
of the Arkham games, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I was watching. There's a channel called Outside Xbox on YouTube, and they were playing that,
Mm,
and this girl was playing the end, and then playing Catwoman. Then it gets to that point where you can either go take the jewels or you can save Batman,
mm,
and then she chose to save Batman, and the game ends, and like everybody's there. What the hell? Why didn't you save Batman?
right.
And they're like, we were the first people to see that ending. Like,
Batman could have gotten out of it.
he
That.
died though.
Oh, oh
like
shit, that's right.
yeah, because she just was like, "Fuck it, he's on his own," and then he dies. And like
Good God, I forgot all about that. That was just,
nobody picks that ending. Like,
that's terrible. Um. Anyway, so I think it is your pick, unless we have any.
yeah, we've gone off on some tangents.
Oh,
But
that's fine.
okay, I didn't really. I've been trying to struggle to come up with one. I had a few thoughts, but I think I'm just gonna go with the one. Hang on. Okay. Yeah. So there's another animate. I've been wanting to watch it, so why not? I'll try and come up with like a clever, witty movie for next week. Because I kind of like doing the thought-provoking ones.
Okay.
But this week I don't have one, so I'm just gonna go with the movie I kind of want to see.
Okay.
So it's for rent. I think it's like $6. Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham on Prime.
Okay.
It's the new animated or newer animated one that's released. One of their DC animation ones.
Mm,
No idea if it's good. No idea. I feel like these movies are either, well, they come in all three forms. They're either like, yeah, that was fine,
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect for our voting poll because
Right.
yeah, yeah, it
It's
is
perfect.
either a show that made my money like that was awesome, I can't believe
Right.
it. Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, or there are some. I don't know if they have any Death by Stu. They have ones that I think are bad,
Mm.
but it's got the Star Wars power of even when it's bad, I'm like, oh, it's still good because I was
See,
Batman. You know,
Injustice, I give a death by snoo snoo.
see, I don't because even though I didn't like it, because yeah, I'm comparing like okay, the book is 1,000 times better. The the movie wasn't good because they tried to condense too much into too small space.
Right.
But it's not Death by Snoo Snoo because I'm still watching Superman fly around and punch things in the face,
Right, but
and there's cool stuff with the what's his name, Plastic Man and
yeah.
Batman. I mean, there's so much fun stuff in it that I can't help but have a good time. It's still pizza, damn it.
Let's pick off some of the toppings. Okay, so tune in next week for was it Batman Doom in Gotham? Is that what you said?
The Doom that came to
The Doom
Gotham.
that
No
came to
idea what it's
Gotham.
about. No idea if it's good. I've been trying to outwait the rental period and watch it on Max,
Mm,
but I was like, fuck it, let's just rent it and watch it.
okay.
Um, so yeah, we'll do that. We got about 15 minutes left. We got some of those rants I was talking
Yeah,
about, or
let's
you want to talk more?
no, let's hear a rant. What rant?
Well, you sure? Is there something about quantum you want? You said you were just writing. Is there something you
Oh,
want to
no,
discuss?
I finished the intro a month ago. I would
Yeah, yeah.
love to talk about that eventually on the show.
Well,
I,
okay. You want like a half hour segment or something?
I mean, sure, it's our show.
Okay. All
Um,
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll save some time. So tune in next week for that. We'll devote some time to quantum. Do you have anything up online where people can watch and
yeah,
go?
I'll send you what I have. The art isn't there yet. There's some just sort of placeholder art, but I'll get some links out. I'm
All right,
going to
cool. So yeah, also keep an eye out for that on our Facebook and our Twitter, right?
yes.
Okay, so we'll post some links.
I'm
Go ahead.
going to
Sorry.
work on the forward, but I have like the general like just basic framework intro to entering the universe. Um,
Awesome.
a lot of exposition. I think you read it.
It did. Yeah.
So yeah, feedback would be great. But anyways, what do you have to share? What rants?
Well, one quick. Let me jump back to quantum real. The stuff I've read. Uh, Obviously it's not to that scope, but I mean it's like comparing you to comparing like God essentially. But what's that Lord of the Rings? He created that book. I forget what it's called. Where it's kind of just like the history of the realms
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything like that.
yeah.
So that Cap is sort of creating that in me as an outside observer experiencing it, and so it's this really rich sci-fi world. So it reminds me if you took a Lord of the Rings like that kind of that book, and I'm blanking on the name of that, but and then you combined it with oh god, what's that movie we just did in Behold Nerds?
Valerian.
Valerian.
Yes.
Yeah, if you slam those two together, that's what I feel like you're creating. Because you're creating, it's got this, it's more sci-fi Valerian, but it's got the scope of Lord of the Rings.
Yay.
And, I'm blown away. I mean, when he first started talking about it, I was like, I don't really get it, and I was like, maybe create a Bible. And then I think you were like, I'm going to create a Bible, and every time I get a glimpse of it, I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, dude. I am blown away. It is awesome. My suggestion for Quantum to kind of bring it to the masses and is to adopt a TTRPG.
Yeah.
Cause I think, and then people can create their own stories, characters, and builds. And then you were talking about finding ways to add it to the lore. I think that would be a lot of fun. D&D 1 might possibly a system so you could look into, because there was some talk, but I think they're allowing the system to stay open source. And then that could actually give you a way into Wizards.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm giving myself 3 more years to at least come up with more of the
Totally.
So,
but yeah, so I personally, we've talked about it on the show before, but I think it would be awesome to share it with you guys and get your opinions. Maybe have some of you come on the show and talk about it.
Yes. So right now, I love writing about villains. Just writing villains is fun because you can sort of turn off the good part of your brain and just really dive in. We talked about it with dragons in D&D from Vox Machina, where they just show up and just murder the fuck out of everything. Why? Because they're dragons. And you belong to us now. You give us your tithings, your riches, and you keep doing that, or else fuck you, you're dragons. You're nothing to us.
I will admit, in D&D, I love playing the evil characters. They're my favorite.
Right.
But it does make it harder for the DM, and it makes it harder for other players if they're not evil.
Right.
But I mean, like my character Ulfur is a Viking necromancer pirate, and like I had so many things. I would get I had this really fancy carriage, and I would fill it full of food and drink and all sorts of stuff. And I would go through the town and I would be like, "Oh, homeless person," and then I would invite them in, like all the beggars and the people, and I would be like, "Yeah, come have this fancy feast," and then I would take him out. I would turns out it was a cage, and I would take him outside. And then once we're out into the boonies, I would murder them all and convert them to undead so they could add to my undead army.
That's awesome.
And then I also had another cage, and I mean, it didn't have to be orphans, but I just felt like that made sense.
Orphans.
And so I had a cage, and I would put orphans in there. Like I would go and be like, I'd look respectable, and I'd be like, yeah, and I have all this gold. Let me adopt a child. And then they would be like, yay, and I would look like a noble. But then once we got outside town, zombies would grab them and throw them into this cage, and then the cage is being pulled by one of my evil undead followers. And then I would go around. I had this massive earth elemental, and I carved a throne into it. And so I would sit in the throne, and I would cast runes to do spells. And then I had this undead army, and one of them pulling this cage, and I would reach out, and a skeletal hand would strangle a child. And then anytime I did that, I got hit points back, because the wizard, the necromancer, if you kill something, you got hit points. And so if I ever got hurt, I would just murder a child, and because I could one shot them. And so yeah,
that's right.
But it was so much fun playing this evil guy,
right. So I'm writing a somewhat not really the morality, but just I have my evil space worms, and I've been trying to convey just how awful they were, or are. Or were, whatever. I speak in quantum as if it's past tense, because in the game it's already happened, so we're just sort of remembering everything.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Right. So how it worked was you have the 4 different gates. When people got recovered, they were injected with nano machines that sort of acted as another operating function of your body, like your circulatory system, your respiratory system. It was just another function of your body, and that's my solution to the space suit. So you can go to any planets, and within certain thresholds, this thing would adapt, and you can walk around to different planets. You can planet jump.
Does it add breathing mass, or you just can breathe?
So I'm going to leave it up to the user, so I can see it going both ways. Depending on how close the planet is to what you require, just a little nano machines will take care of it for you. If it's something where it's a larger, Jupiter type planet where there's higher gravitation and just it's so vastly different, then yeah, there'd be little things almost like Iron Man that can come up and just act as a breather or something. But it's all within you. It's sort of like a electronic symbiote kind of sort of. So these goobers got picked up, and the way that they operated, they're almost like bombardier beetles, where they just have explosive capability. They almost shoot napalm at things as a defense. After they got captured, they broke loose into the ship that retrieved them, and they just thought, we got shanghaied. What's going on here? They're a very primitive race. So the concept of a spaceship is what the fuck is this? Where are we? We've been shanghaied. Let's find those responsible for getting us into this and just, conquer them, because nobody's going to enslave us type thing. So, but they have no idea what's going on, so they start releasing other passengers from the ship, and they confront the space worms. Now, the space worms are highly advanced, and they immediately recognize what's going on the ship. Like, well, we don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They're thinking we did this. They're asking for, they're taking prisoners under this deity of theirs. Sure, we're going to be your slaves. We submit to you, but we think we can fix what's going on in the ship. So in your deity's name and glory, we'll be the ultimate servant. Let's just fix this shit so we can get out of here. And these primitives are like, yeah, sure, you work for us now. But unbeknownst to them, because they're so primitive, that the space worms are sort of just telling them what they want to hear, just a garner their trust type thing. So what the worms did was they eventually got control over the ship, and they managed to hack into the nanomachines of these goobers and turn them into like a programmed army. Mm-hmm. And they weaponized their ability to secrete this napalm as a means to infect other people. And they plop them into a spot. I mean, this is paraphrasing here, but they plop them into a spot and just let them take over a part of the galaxy while the worms is sort of like hid, clandestine in the corner.
So the worms are kind of your god tier race, if you will.
So I would mark them as type 3. So god tier would be type 5. Technologically, so this would be almost like Star Trek, where you can you have the teleporters, the transporters, the fabricators and whatnot. They're that level of intelligence versus like a species that's just barely into the Bronze Age. So
yeah, are you familiar with Douglas Adams? He did the Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yes.
Yeah. So it never got finished because he passed away, sadly, but there's this one book, and this is my favorite sci-fi, like aliens meeting primitive race thing. And this ship is crashing onto this kind of tropical paradise planet, if you will.
Right.
And it's known because it has like the best lobster ever. And so, like, all of the natives there, that's like their whole life is to just sit there eating delicious lobster, and it's like their whole culture, because like that's the food they get from the sea.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so they see this ship for the first time coming in their atmosphere, and they're looking at it like flying as it's coming to a crash. And the first thing they remarked is how much not like a lobster it is, and completely unlobster-like. And that was like, what the hell? Why isn't it anything like lobster? Right. Lobster's the best thing ever.
So
and then they're watching it go into a crash, and they're like, why is it up there in the air? Why can't it stay on the ground? And they start jumping up and down. And so he's like looking out the window, sees them jumping up and down at him. What they're doing is they're showing him how easy it is to stay on the ground. But he's like, all the dude's like, ah. It's so good. It's so good.
But see that
and then they watch the thing crash, and then they go and they're like, have some of the best lobster on Earth or in the galaxy.
That's awesome. And see, it's like the opening to Valerian, not after Major Tom, but with the aliens are on this beach, and you kind of seeing how they're going about their business, and then the ships start the big battle.
It is like that, yeah.
So
right.
I really like that. I really like exploring that, because imagine you're walking around in the woods and you just happen to, as you're walking, you accidentally step on like some bugs or like some ants or something, and you're like, oh, but you keep walking. It's benign to us, but to the ants, like, oh my fuck, what the hell was that? Like, I like that. I like playing with that concept of just things.
No, I know you do. There was one time back when I lived with Cap, I was like, hey Cap, I got some ants, and you're like, I will be there, Apocalypse. He had like 2 cans of Raid, and I just saw you go like evil megalomaniac. Like
the ants are gone.
They came back a few times. I started spraying them, and then eventually they realized, well, every time we come in here, we die.
Right.
Maybe we should
go over there in that bush.
Yeah.
So you know we get the big like outdoor roaches, like they come in through the garage, but not the little ones. The little ones are the problem. The big ones are just they got turned around. Anyways, we're at that time where we should probably call it. I have an appointment to get my hair done at 1 with the lovely Teresa. It's cool. My barber, you can have like a shot of whiskey and like a beer. You can get like a towel, like hot towel. Oh, I love hot towel. Ooh, love hot towel. I'm gonna see if she can do the straight edge on me. I've never had a straight edge shave before, so I'll see.
I have. I do. I admit. I agree with you. It does feel pretty nice to get like a full blown treatment.
Right?
It's been years. I mean, my usual thing is I go into the bathroom. And then, yeah.
Anyways, we should probably wrap it. For those who watched today, thanks for watching. PDE videos, thanks for commenting. Booyakasha. Booyakasha. Tune in next week where we will be pitting the Lassie, the one and only Lassie, against Captain America. We will be discussing Behold Nerds, which is
what Lassie do you think when you think Lassie?
Lassie.
Like just yeah, exactly. That's me. That's from the black and white show
with the whistle.
Yeah.
My cousins actually had a Sheltie named Lassie. You have to.
You know what? Lassie was also like, because he's like in the show, she would throw down with shit. Like,
oh yeah, she's throwing down with bears and like mountain lions.
There's a cougar, there's a badger, and like yeah.
No, she threw down with a badger, yo. Like fuck the bear and the cougar. You throw down with a badger and walk away.
That's true.
So, anyways, we do like to end the show with a nerdy quote by Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty.
I don't know if we said it, but if like you watch, please, like, comment, subscribe. I know it's cringe, but like, oh my god, it really, really makes my day when I see that, and we respond to all comments. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, and screw you guys. I'm going home.
Good night, everybody.